1350. Fox Sports Pueblo 1350. An iHeart radio station. Online at foxsportspueblo.com and on your phone with your iHeart radio app. KCCY Pueblo. Fox Sports Pueblo 1350. This is the John Wristen Show. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Let's join the voices of the pack. Jim Brooks and Joe Serby. Along with CSU Pueblo Thunderwolves head coach John Wristen.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Andy Max for the John Wristen Show. John Wristen is in the house on time tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, sure am. I didn't want to listen to you guys on the radio.
Yeah, didn't want to see what we got wrong this week. Right?
No, you just wanted to be able to tell us what we
had incorrect. He's Joe Serby. I'm Jim Brooks. This is the coach, John Wristen. We're ready to go. It's Red Letter Week. It's Chadron State Week. It's always the big game, Johnny. You ready?
I'm fired up to see the Thunderwolves go up to Chadron, Nebraska, and play one heck of a ball team in a ball game.
Well, they're struggled to start the year, 1-3, but they're improving right now, and they've won 2 in a row. And the first thing I notice about them is their defense is pretty good.
Yeah, they're a typical Chadron team that got a lot of really tough, athletic, big guys that just play the game the right way. And, you know, they played a heck of a schedule in the first part of their season when they went down and played Missouri S&T, and then they went down and played Missouri State.
Is Missouri State a FCS school?
Yeah.
They are, aren't they?
Yeah, they're in the tough Missouri Valley Conference, and I don't quite know what their record is, but then they played Mines, then they had played Mesa. So, you know, I think that's a little bit on, you know, when you play those games lined up back to back to back, you know, that helps develop the character of your team and what you're trying to do. And they're a very, very young ball club, but they play typical Eagle football.
Hey, you notice, you got to my next point there. Young, they got some freshmen starting. They got a lot of sophomores sprinkled in throughout the lineup. This may be a team that's a year or two away from really peaking and being able to contend, I think, for a title again, but you're having none of that. You're playing at their place. You know they're going to want to peak this week and knock you guys off.
Well, you know, that's why they call it a game. That's why they call it a competition. Those kids are still darn good football players, and I think their defense is pretty typical of what they want to be about. You know, I mean, they're just really a prototypical young Chadron State team, and you know, I think the biggest thing is to me we're not facing McLean at quarterback
for the first time ever,
and I think, you know, they're trying to develop their guy, and he's matured from week to week, and I know they started with T.J. Stein, and I don't know if he's got an injury or not, but
how's that for a quarterback name? TD.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
presumptuous of you.
That's a pretty darn good guy. I'd want to recruit and be a part of our team, but and then the number 12 Matt Vincent, and has come in and really done a nice job. And so, you know, we got to work cut out for us. We got a young secondary. They're going to challenge us. They're going to play all the bubbles, and, you know, physical as any team in the RMAC. They come out and cut you. And so we've had a good week of preparation. Today was, it's been hot on that turf the last 2 days, and so we're just trying to keep everybody fresh so we can go play a heck of a game on Saturday.
You know this is a big game for John Wristen. John, how are you sleeping this week? At all?
Do I look that bad?
I know,
right
a little tired.
Do I look a little tired?
He kind of quipped yesterday at practice. He goes, I know it's a big game when I don't sleep. He goes, I was up at 4 today. And it was like, but if you'd have been at practice, you'd have never known it. Because yesterday was, I thought, a pretty good practice. It was, because everybody's on edge. You know, when there was a mistake, everybody was jumping on whoever made the mistake. And when there was a good play, everybody was celebrating the good play. It was definitely an edge practice. And I like when I go out there and there's that edge, one way or the other.
You know, it's kind of funny, you know, since July 3rd of 2007 when we started this program, that I think I know in my press conference that we wanted to we wanted to be like Chattern. We want to emulate their program because they've done a great job, and that's out of respect. And so that's kind of why this is a red letter game for us, out of the respect of what Chattern has done in their program. And I wanted our guys to realize that this is a team that we got to focus on, maybe turn it up a little bit, and establish what the pride and tradition of Pac football is like. Might as well start with Chattern and be a part of it.
Well, you look back to the 90s and the early 2000s, this was the team in the RMAC. They came in, I think this is what, their 20th, 21st, 22nd year, or something like that in the RMAC.
24th year.
24th, okay, and they've won 8 titles. So they did a lot of that early. Now you guys have come along and kind of knocked them down a peg, maybe, but I know they still have that tradition, and they're the team that is most like you, most built like you, most plays like you, that play the tight end, physical. They like to, not so much the spread and the gimmicky type stuff. They want to kind of out-physical you, if that makes sense. So I think this is the 2 mirror images of teams in the conference.
Well, I think, that's why we wanted to emulate our program to be like Chattern with a physical style, both offense and defense, and we're going to run the ball first, and that's what they've kind of established with, in the past they've had the Danny Woodheads and the Clintons, and, they got 3 backs are rotating through there, are very talented. In fact, the kid from Pueblo West, Jackson kid, Derek Jackson, and, he's a very talented kid, and so our work's cut out for us.
It's like this is the 4th segment tonight. First, we're eating dessert.
Yeah, well, we're ready.
We're talking about next week already. First, not about last week's huge 45-9 shellacking.
I think that speaks volumes of the opponent.
No, without question.
We can't fill 45 minutes with Adams State and Western New Mexico. We could fill 45 minutes with Chadron State.
Well, we talked about this how many years ago when it was just you and me and sitting in the other place, and no one was listening to college kids in the dorms. And John and I were talking, and they had to run that gauntlet. Remember, it was Kearney, Chadron, Mines, and Mesa.
Right.
All for the first, was it 4 years or 2 years for sure? But it was like breathe. Okay, then you had to hold your breath for 4 straight weeks, and then you could breathe again. And now it's you got Chadron this week and Mines next week, so that it's like a mini gauntlet.
Well,
so right after that,
we still have to go 1-0 each week.
Right.
So last week we played a very good Fort Lewis team, and they were undefeated in the RMAC coming in, and so we got to take care of our business, and we got to take care for each week as we go through our regular season, and hopefully we've done our job, and we'll see what happens after that.
Well, we'll just use this moment to transition. Joe's right. We should talk a little bit about last week's game, about Fort Lewis. I mean, you guys came out. And you always say you want to start fast, John. I think there's no other way to start faster than to score on the first play from scrimmage.
Yeah, that was kind of a nice design by Jeff Hecklinski and Gordy Shaw, and our guys were able to operate. And so, I always challenge our players as us coaches, we're like stagehands. We're the guys who roll the piano out, pull the curtain, just get everybody organized, and they got to go execute it. And so they got to go perform. And to our kids' credit, they did a great job on, we scored 2 touchdowns the first 3 plays. And so when that happens, your kids are focused and they're in tune and they know where to go and they're playing fast. And that's what happened on Saturday.
Well, I know you script plays, the first 12, I think, or 16 plays, and how are you just the final say on that, or is that Gordy and Jeff doing it with the offense, or are they like okay, let's go run it by the teacher? Okay, do we get the stamp of approval? I mean, or do you sit in on that and help develop those initial dozen plays or so?
They do it Thursday morning, and then we have a staff meeting at 9:00, and I look at it, but it's their call. I don't change it at all, and we have some input throughout the week a little bit, but it's those guys are organizing it, and just like this defense will organize it, and if there's something that I overlook and I don't necessarily like, I bring up questions, and we either decide to throw it out or tweak it or whatever. But it's a nice collective effort. And by the way, I'm really proud of the way our staff is really working. I think that with Gordy and Jeff working the first time together, we keep improving week to week. And we're working with Sam Sewell and Jake Novotny and Roy Roundtree and Coach Herring. Those guys all work together, and our defense has been there for a long time, and they kind of have gone through their progression about what to do, and Coach Hughes does a great job of leading that group, and the input that Carl Fetters and JT Haddon stepping up in that role, but what Donnell Leomiti brings, and so those guys have done such a great job at trying to get our kids to execute the plan, and I couldn't be prouder of a bunch of guys.
Well, I had asked that because the first question I asked A.J. Thompson and Kieran Duncan after the game, I took them aside and I said, when did you guys know that was going to be the first play of the game? They said they learned about it Friday night, and they said that they could not wait.
Yeah, I bet.
They knew that they were going to connect on this. They had that feeling, and I'm very happy for A.J. Thompson that his senior receivers and his veteran guys are buying into him at quarterback and trusting. That was a great throw. It's hard to out-throw a Kieran Duncan, but the throw was as pretty as A.J. Thompson's thrown all year.
Well, what was nice, he kept him in bounds right on the sideline, and some quarterbacks throw it out of bounds. They get too excited, but it was well designed, and the corner kind of just stayed a little bit on the curl route that we had set up right in front of him, and then Kieran was you just can't do that to number one, and Kieran did a great job of catching and getting north and south on it.
Well, let's look back 4 weeks ago. Could you ever envision your offense making this big a leap? I mean, at that point, you're bringing in a redshirt freshman. You're wondering, well, do we just got to kind of manage the game, let the defense kind of get us in position and make enough plays to win ball games? They've gone beyond that now. They are now just as explosive as I think as any offense you've had right now.
Well, I think, we're still tweaking and we're still learning about our guys, but I tell you, our offensive line has done a great job.
They allow you to do a lot of things, don't they?
They are playing very well. I think that Ty McCauley and Quentin Wall has done a nice job. Zach Martinez has been a leader. Gary Dixon's probably playing as good a football I've seen him play, and then our two centers are really stepping it up, and then Chance Rodriguez at the other guard has done a nice job. But I think the development of those five guys with the tight ends is able to let number 30 do a lot of work, but also let AJ manage it. And so we're growing, and whether we're reached there or not, we've been able to get some big plays. We've been able to get some nice explosion. But I think the collective spirit of both the offensive staff of being putting those guys in great position has been able to allow those guys to play fast. But I think those kids are gaining confidence by each play they're running. And so with that being said, I think we're going to continue to grow. As I said, it's a maturity factor.
All right, we're going to take our first time out of the night right here. If you want to get a question in for the coach, it's 719-671-7574. We got a couple lined up. We need more, though. 719-671-7574. We are at Andy Mack's. Come on out and join us. Baseball game's up. What an incredible early game today. We'll see if the second game can match, and we're ready here to watch that as well as soon as our business is over here.
We also got a mic for the crowd to come up and
if you got questions, you can come ask Coach Wristen right here in the house. You can come on over. Mike Alvarado, we got a question. You can come on over as soon as you put your food down there. What's he got? He got a burger? Anyway, Andy Mack's John Wristen Show here on Fox Sports Pueblo.
And now the John Wristen Show on Fox Sports Pueblo 1350.
The Thunderbolts will trot right out to the line of scrimmage. Ball lined up on the right hash mark. Tight formation here for the Thunderbolts to start off the game. Cooper going to get the start at the right slot. Duncan comes in motion to the right side of the formation. And they play action. They look down the sideline. A.J. Tate's going for it all. He's got Duncan in the clear. He's got it. 35-30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Thunderbolts. That's how you start a ball game right there.
70 yards.
That is how you start a ball game, right?
70 yards.
70 yards. Go. And then the next play, you get it back. You run 58 yards. Then you run 17 yards. 3 plays, 2 touchdowns. Kind of gets the other team on their heels there, Johnny.
Took the fight right out of them.
Well, you guys are pretty good on that call right there, and Joe, 70 yards.
Captain Obvious. I try not to trip over Jim when he's making these great calls. I just kind of let him, but I got to.
Unless it's a fumble or interception, then you jump in. But, that's just excitement.
Pick it off.
Yeah.
Sack.
Well,
it's Tourette's.
But I think that speaking of the obvious is that our kids were ready to go play that game. I think,
man.
We had a little edge to us past week. And, I didn't bring up, the last time I brought up our Fort Lewis was in the locker room at Adams State and saying how many days. And I didn't bring it up during the week, but I think they knew. Our kids all knew. And I didn't want to make it about last year, but it was kind of about last year and all our preparation, being able to say that. And I think that we were sure disappointed what happened. But we're sure playing for all those guys that didn't have that opportunity.
Right.
And when you can play for someone else, you got a chance to have a great team and a great cause. And our guys are growing. This has been a fun team to see their maturity, to see how far we've come.
Well, let's talk about the first series that Fort Lewis had. Some of the things that went on there, with the punt play being offside. Now, I saw you explain to the ref. I was trying to explain to the listeners what you were trying to explain to the ref. They kind of have it's not a false start, but kind of a tricky start, don't they? Because they kind of spread out real quick, kind of almost simulating a snap, don't they?
Well, it was,
borderline.
My fault on coaching of not bringing it up. But it was one of those things that you don't detect on film. And what really was happening is they had an indicator when that snap was coming, and so that was our cue all week to get ready to go. And so what happened was the center was squatted down a little bit, and then he raised up real quick, and our guys jumped, and then they moved, and then that's what caused the first one. And then second one, same scenario. We just weren't disciplined on the whole deal. And then we had 25 yards of penalties on our first two punts, and we had our defense back on there. And so we really gave them an opportunity to continue the drives, and then it led to a field goal, and it led down to a first and goal on the 8-yard line, and they got it down to the 2, and we were able to stop and hold them to field goal, which is part of our goals.
Yeah, the big scenario of the game there, if they do get a touchdown there, it's 14 plays to 1. I mean, you're looking at a 7-7 score. Your defense might be tired. That'd be just the way they'd want to have it and try to get the ball right back and get back there on your defense. So I thought it was important. You hold them to the field goal. Then you get the quick score. You'll trade 2-play touchdown drive for maybe sending your defense right back out there again.
Well, your goal is to score points.
Right.
You don't care whether it happens in a big play manner or whether it's a 14-play drive or not. But, your goal is put the ball in the end zone. That's what offense did. I thought, in our staff meetings, I was concerned about our big plays because I thought that during Adams State, I thought that was kind of not a fluke, but you don't get a 90-yard, a 78-yarder, or an 80-yarder.
Three one-play scoring drives.
And so you don't necessarily get that. Then Coach Shaw, he says, well, I believe we are going to get those big plays. And so
okay.
He was right.
Thanks, Gordy.
And he was good about it, and it was kind of funny. But some of the dynamics going on the sidelines that everybody can see, and I was we got it done.
Well, does he have any in store for this week? Quick play scores, we hope, huh?
Well,
you hit him on the first play last year.
Yep.
And so that's and it was Duncan as well. They got to account for that guy.
But I think the story of the game isn't so much the offense; it's about the work of our defense. Our defense really you take a big play, 50 yards or so on their touchdown right at the end of half, and you take that out of it. I think they have less than 200 yards of offense, and so when you do that, you have a chance to win. But our coaches on both sides of the ball did a great job. And like I said in our earlier segment, it was all about the stage hands working together, make sure the instruments and everything's tuned right, and they sure had them ready to go.
Well, we found out their quarterback, you talked about him, Tebow-esque. I mean, he was big and strong. He broke a couple of good, decent runs, but he's just big and strong, that kind of guy, and then he hit that pass on the run. But for the most part, I mean, that had to be his biggest nightmare of a day as a quarterback. Could not believe the immense pressure you guys put on him all day. And I thought the pressure was good because you were kind of containing him and forcing him up into the pocket, and then your nose tackle play was so good. I mean, it was forcing him right into the pressure. Yeah, and the guy, our player of the game, some defense, was Tony Campton and Josh Croy together. I thought they played outstanding, and they were really, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but they were man amongst boys, and they really played that way. And then the guy that really stepped up and played a very, very sound football game and played an excellent football game was Ian Kelly.
Sure.
And took the place of Morgan Fox and was nice to be able to do that. We had a little issues through the week, and we tweaked it. JT did a great job of getting him to handle what he needed to do, and he executed. And I thought Ben Eska had one of his better games also. And so it was just nice overall. Our secondary's getting more confidence, as you talked about the offense. Our secondary's getting more confidence, and we've grown a lot since day one. Well, then the other guy on defense that we love, the Aussie, he's before the game, John, he's out fielding punts. He's helping the punter out. Brock Davies, he just likes to do everything, doesn't he? And he gets out there on the field. And I, saw him this summer when we were on our little Vegas jaunt. That's where he was living and working. And he goes, I got to get there. I want to play for this team. He really wanted to be a Thunderwolf. And here he is here. And now he loves going to work on the football team, doesn't he? Well, I'm glad you saw him this summer, and he was able to do that. And he made a decision to come back. And, he's had some hardships. And to that kid's credit, he has manned up. He's owned his responsibility. He's realized he's had to take care of some business that he didn't think he had to take care of. And he had to be on the same page I was. And so, to his credit and to our discussions, they weren't always the most productive. But to that kid's credit, we kind of gave him a second chance. And he's made the most of it. So I'm very proud of him seizing that moment, seizing that opportunity, and seeing a guy who's 23, 24 years old mature.
He's a backup nose guard, and he had 2 sacks. And he comes running off the field into the locker room after the game. I've only got to hit somebody. Dude.
Well, he's kind of I don't know, you got him at nose guard, but he's kind of a hybrid, isn't he? He's kind of a hybrid between a linebacker, lineman, but he just, wherever you're going to put him, he's going to, all right, I'll do it.
Yeah, he's, we
had him at defensive end a little bit in this game, too, didn't you?
Yeah, we had him at linebacker. And as the two-a-days were going through our preseason camp, I made a suggestion to Hunter. I says, I don't know if he's a linebacker to be able to do it. Let's move him closer to the ball. And we're trying to find some depth behind Tony. I said, let's do that. And he's embraced that role. And then, we played him at a little bit of end because of our injury situation with Morgan. And he's figuring that out and done some nice things there. And so it's been but the kid that came in and really has not played a whole bunch was Alex Vaconis. That came in and as he started at fullback again and probably a month ago, or we talked before, if he wasn't going to get any reps at fullback, he'd like to try D-line. And, he brought it up again. I said, well, let's go do it. And he steadily has gotten better. Coach Wardo's taking him to by his side, and we'll work with him a little bit. But he's going to be a factor in this game for sure. So he's made a part of our 2 deep on defense.
All right, great. Time for a timeout here. We got some questions lined up. Got 2 more that just came in. If you want to get one lined up for Coach Wristen when we come back after the break, 719-671-7574. Just text it right to me here, and we'll get it on there. We got a couple of interesting ones coming in, so we'll run those by the coach when we come back after this timeout. We are at Andy Max. It is the John Wristen Show.
ESFI.org.
The John Wristen Show on Fox Sports Pueblo 1350.
Now he lines up. He's the lone back. Thompson's up under center here. And they try to draw him offside. They get back onside. Hand it off to Bernard. Right side. Nice hole. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown! Thunderwolves! Boy, that is like hot knife through butter. I guess not even butter there. That's just a knife going through air.
A knife going through air. That's when you're at a loss for words, I guess. But about right. Well, it's like a 7-on-7 drill. You just kind of hand it off him. Nobody there, just run it on into the end zone. The thing I love about Bernard McDonald, John, see if you agree with this. The guy, when he scores touchdowns, he runs all the way to the goal line. There's no waving. He goes to the goal line, breaks. It's like he's running a 100-yard dash. He breaks the tape, and then it's time to celebrate. He loves to show off that speed.
Yes, he does, Jim. And
I guess if I was that fast, I'd want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then his brother Cam, when he scores a touchdown, always flips the ball to the referee. Very polite individuals as well.
Well, he's got to make sure he crosses the goal line before he does that. So, but those two they've shown that they've been there before and they've acted that way, and they give all the credit to the offensive line, and the receivers done a great job. I really think that a lot of our guys, I told them, be careful jumping. I don't want you to jump. Some are reaching their hand and they're doing handshakes, and I want them to celebrate.
That little fun bunch, and you blow out a knee.
Yeah, there you go, exactly. Let's go to the questions. Here's the first one. I told you I had a couple of interesting ones. Has there ever been talk about having a game at Dutch Clark Stadium, sort of like the baseball team does when they have the Pack the Park deal at Runyon Field? Has the football team ever thought about, let's go play a game at Dutch Clark Stadium?
No.
Okay. So much they never thought of it.
No, never thought of it, and I don't want to do that because we're here. We have the most beautiful stadium we could have. It's where we play, and that's the way we're going to play.
All right. Madison and Abigail Turner checking in. This is becoming a weekly occurrence for you, John. They're going to put you on the hot seat here.
My favorite 2 girls.
Yeah. Where do the boys like to eat when they are at away games and they have a long bus ride back home? Well, back home it's always pizza usually for a take on the bus. But where do you guys like to eat? Like, where are we going to eat Friday night up in Shadron?
Well, there's only one.
Eat here and then go up.
There's only one place. So the way we're going to operate is we're going to practice at 8, have a couple meetings, and we're going to go have a really nice breakfast up at our cafeteria. They got great omelets up there, and our guys love to have a chance to do that. Then we'll get on the bus about 10 and go to Sidney, Nebraska, where the Cabela's store is, and walk around and have a Subway. And then probably the best food on any of our trips is at Chattern at the Country Kitchen.
Nice, that's a great place.
They do a great job, and so we have both dinner and breakfast, and then on the way home we try to mix it up a little bit, maybe a box of chicken, but this one where everybody gets a pizza.
I guess a lot of people are concerned about the nutrition of this team. Here's another question from somebody else. They want to know, after a home game, do you guys have a team meal, or is everybody on their own, or is it what do you do after that?
I wish we had could give them a box lunch afterwards or whatever, but they're on their own. They usually want to be with their families, and last thing they want to see is me after a game, and so they're on their own.
Okay, I had another one here from Tundra somewhere. Oh, where do we go? Here we go. Tundra's in Yellowstone this week.
Oh, I know.
So I don't know if this question's from Tundra or from Tundra's mommy.
Or the pack of wolves up there. Could be the alpha male.
Go home.
Go hey.
Does Risto have any game day rituals or superstitions?
Oh, I think I got a bunch of them probably, and I trying to walk a little bit, and I try to walk when we stretch in between the lines, and it's just more nervous energy than anything, and
Well, we noticed that at Adams State you were looking for Jimmy Hoffa.
Got some mileage into the end zones.
The field about 25 times.
Oh, it was only 6, but who's counting? You guys can't count.
No,
so.
but we had several conversations, and you were kept going. So
what's up with
what
that?
is he doing? Is he lost?
Burning it off. It's burning it off. That's what he's doing. I like looking for Hoffa.
Wow.
In the Meadowlands, you could do that. All right.
I had 2 questions.
Think he's in Alamosa, be in the sand dunes?
Yeah. Ken Franek checking in. I guess his boy is going to be a Thunderwolf, right? He committed?
Yeah. All right. But I can't comment on that. But we're excited that he's going to come down and give the old college try.
Okay. Well, I got that from him. I didn't get it from you. So that's just what he told me. So
good.
We'll see. All right. Wants to know when putting together the 54-man roster, although this doesn't equate him. They've expanded the old days, you only had 54 when you traveled. Now it's 60?
Yes.
So it takes a little bit of the pressure off, but how do you constitute? How many do you have a set number of people are going to take? I'm going to take 8 offensive linemen, I'm going to take 8 defensive linemen, or is it differ from the teams you're going to be playing or the situation you have in your ball club? What are the factors?
You kind of, one is the factor of special teams, so who's going to play special teams. 2 is who's healthy, who's ready to play in these type of games, and so there's you try to take a formula where everybody's at least 2 deep, and then adjust your special teams, and then you're going to have a little bit of a carryover, and so that's it's not an exact science on any of that, but we try to take 2 deep and then piecemeal the special teams together on that.
Well, let's piggyback on that, just because I know everybody wants to know Morgan Fox.
Right, that's my next one there. You got it, Joe.
I know, talking to him yesterday, he's traveling, but is he traveling in uniform?
Well, I don't know yet. I think that the jury's still out. He did a few things in practice today. I think we're going to have to make that call tomorrow or on Friday.
Now, here's a question that I don't know if our listeners want an answer to, but I do, as the inquiring journalist that I am. Is there a situation where you would take
best?
Finest? That's right, baby.
Finest.
That's a little thing to prove it.
Well, good.
So.
I forgot that, John. Congratulations on third best coach in Pueblo.
Third best coach in Pueblo, behind a soccer coach.
I won a bronze medal.
You did. So you have Morgan Fox,
you guys,
and you dress him. Okay, say you start kicking Shadron's butt, and you don't need him. Is he going to be there in case, or do you think that way? If you're taking him and he's in uniform, we're going to play him.
We're going to decide that on Thursday after seeing what he went through today. If he's going to dress, I think he's going to play. Okay. I'm not wanting to play games. I don't want them not thinking. I mean,
well, and not so much for what Shadron thinks, but more for you, because next week's game against Dvorak and that aerial attack, the mines, and I that's how I was trying to. Had nothing to do with Shadron.
Yeah, I know what you're saying there, but you got to think of the moment, what you're going to do, and if he's not ready to go, why dress him? And so we can use that 60-man spot. That spot for someone that could have benefit for that game. That's 60 minutes. I'm in it to win the game, not to. If Morgan can play, he's going to play, and I just think that we have to evaluate that as a staff and make that determination, and we'll try to do that tomorrow or Friday.
So you make that decision before you get on the bus. You don't take 61 and then say, "Oh, you're odd man out. Morgan is going."
No, we have a philosophy, or we started this program that you got to practice Tuesday and Wednesday to be eligible to play. And then in some guys are a little bit different, but in all reality, we are trying to I haven't been around a guy that can just go, I didn't practice Tuesday, Wednesday, feel a little better on Thursday, feel really good on Friday, and then play an All-American game on Saturday. I mean, it just, to me, it doesn't happen, and that's not the way we built this program.
The other question, and I'm sorry, we missed it kind of on Saturday, was Seth Brown. Kind of stealth. We had no idea that he was even going to suit, and he played a little bit, and then I saw him at practice yesterday, and I'm looking and I'm going, wow, there's some depth there now.
Yeah, Seth is back, and we thought we might have him ready for Adams State, but we made the call on Thursday not to dress him and not to play him. His body just wasn't quite right. And so he had a good week of practice last week, and so we decided that we're going to play him, use him in our nickel situations, and he adds a little more of that package in our nickel. I mean, he's a good football player.
Right. What's
it's
really
nice having him back.
That just speaks volumes of how well Sam Singleton and Ben have played.
Right.
Because you haven't had Seth Brown, who was as good as there was last year, maybe the defensive MVP. And he hasn't played. And
like I'm making a mid-season trade.
Yeah,
here we go. We got Seth Brown right in a row.
So.
Well, I think you brought up Sam and Ben, and I think they played. I think also the guys that have spilled those guys, and Trace Gray, and Ryan Merrill, they've played a lot of football, and they still got a couple years left on them, and so it's nice to have that depth at that position. And with Seth coming back, it gives us some more flexibility and maybe some nickel situations, and playing him a little more at inside, and then we could play Ben as a pass rusher, and it helps us a little bit.
Well, Trace Gray kind of took over the Bradle Trace Gray looks good in a football uniform. He's a very well-proportioned young man in a football uniform. Well, yes. I don't know. I mean, he looks like a football player, but he's tall and he's muscular. And
we'll give him the Yeti-looking award.
Yeah, there you go.
Not the Yeti.
Not the Yeti playing
Josh Bridle, the number 8, best-looking player, first guy off the bus type of deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you run out for the coin toss.
You know, we're fortunate to have more guys that look pretty good.
I would send Campton out for everything. The walking refrigerator, just send him out.
You know, I did on my the little 40-45 play condensed broadcast. One of my favorite plays of that game, Joe, you remember it, when the quarterback, that was the receiver, they threw that little bubble screen, he's running for his life, and he decides to cut back in the middle of the field, and oh no, there's Tony Campton, just flattened him, smashed him right in the middle of the field. He probably thought, I'm going to have some freedom right here, and all of a sudden there's Tony just...
The kegerator.
Oh,
he's a kegerator.
What a great play. That was 6 yards down the field. And Tony's running, and the guy's blocking him, so Tony pokes his head inside, and the guy bounces, and Tony throws a blocker down and just makes one heck of a play, because that's the way Tony Campton is. He's playing he's finally getting a little healthy. You know, he didn't play very well our first 3 games, and so he wasn't quite healthy, but now he's feeling a lot better, and he's playing at a high level right now.
All right. We got one more question. We're going to take it after this timeout. We're going to take a break here. We're going to do that question. We're going to talk the rest of the show about Chadron State, how we prepare for that ball game, what is going to happen on Saturday afternoon at high noon. John Wristen Show. We are at Andy Max. Come on down. Join us. A little after-hours action here. We'll watch the ball games, have some dinner, and, of course, an ice-cold beverage. That comes your way next. John Wristen Show on Fox Sports Pueblo.
If you know the difference between Wolfie...
Our mission.
The John Wristen Show on Fox Sports Pueblo 1350.
I like what A.J. Thompson's done now on the throws where he hasn't had to look off, where he had a receiver in mind. He's made some very nice throws.
Cam McDonald back in the ball game here on 3rd and a long 8. Ball just inside the 22-yard line. Thompson up under center. And they're going to run the ball to Cam McDonald this time. And he spins out of one tackle. There he goes. Clear. 10-5 touchdown. Looks like it was going to be a loss of a yard on the play. Cam spins. Touchdown. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, when you handed the ball off to Cam there, I thought, well, maybe it's just going to be concede the possession, make sure you get position for the field goal. Every time Cam touches the ball, it's a chance for a touchdown.
Well, he made a nice move, but the guy tried to tackle him, and he spun out of it, and then everybody else stayed alive and blocking their guy, and I believe Michael came by, or one of the tight ends came by and covered up the safety, and he was able to crease that, and so everybody's trying to stay alive on that.
All right, we got a question in the house. Let's hear it, Charlie.
Charlie.
All right.
The man.
Yeah, I got a question about that sideline interference call. I mean, it looks like all 22 players are running down the east sideline, and we get a call on the west sideline. What was that all about?
Great question. It was on our punt return on that side, and our offensive coaches. I'm going to leave the name out.
Name him.
No,
throw him under the bus.
He used to be a former quarterback. Okay, so
let's see. Herring was a quarterback.
That's what I'm going to say. So anyway, he was trying to run, and he thought the official was already in, and so he stepped out on him, and the official hit him, and so that's where the 15-yard came through. And I was watching the sidelines, and I thought, God, our sideline was pretty good. I didn't see what's going on. And then they said there was a flag back here, and the coach walked by and goes, "Yeah, it was on me."
I bet.
He goes, "Yeah, it was on me." So those things happen when you get excited.
You have a follow-up, Charlie?
I got one other quick question. This Wristen kid just comes out of nowhere. Where do you find these guys?
Well, I've been recruiting for a long time and watching him grow. And he's my nephew, and he's played up at Broomfield High School. My brother and his wife Tammy has done a nice job raising him, and I think he's going to be one heck of a player down the road. He's getting bigger by the moment, and he finally got his
first pass.
Yeah. He's 1 for 3 right now, but we're all right.
Well, I told him after the game. I said, if you don't keep catching them, you're a left tackle.
That's right.
And he started laughing because I'm sure he's heard that before.
I don't know from where or who.
Well, it's time to move on. Your wife had a question. You want to know what your favorite part of coaching is there, John? What's your favorite part? Going home?
Going home and the Tuesday night meals that she provides for our coaching staff. And I enjoy playing or having Saturday nights after victories is probably the most enjoyable part.
Well, to make that happen, you have to go on the road this week. Now, your Saturday night is going to involve 6 hours in a bus after the ball game. Well, in a bus, yeah, probably be about 7. Yeah, actually, when you're coming back from Chadron. But let's talk about this ball game, this matchup. It's kind of a scary matchup, isn't it, John? You look at them; they're 3-3. You look at the comparative scores. I mean, you're beating people by 50. They're beating them by 20. But that's the worst indicator in the world, is it? It's just what you're going to do against them about the matchups. And some of the matchups they pose you cause you some problems, some headaches, don't they?
Yeah, I have a lot of respect. Again, I will continue to say that for that Chadron State program. And it started with Bill O'Boyle and Todd Auer up there and Brad Smith, and those guys have done a really nice job. But Jay Long's carried on this tradition, and so he
knows all about it. He's a former player.
And Chris Stein does a great job on offense, and Jersey and those guys on the defensive side. They just coach right, and they have their system, and so I think they're trying to get their young guys to play as hard as they can and do it the Eagle way, and we're trying to get our young guys to play as hard as we can and do it the Pack way. And so I really enjoy this game. I enjoy coaching against those guys. I have so much respect. And, we've had some heck of a ball game. I think one of the better ball games we've had down there was this overtime 2 years ago that we had here. Or, no, it was 3 years now. Yeah. Here, that was one heck of a ball game. And we've got
triple overtime.
Triple overtime. And I think that we've just had really tenacious ball games, and I still remember our 2008 season is when we went up there and our kids came together. We had it was 2009 when we went up there, and our kids just continue to keep believing and help lay that foundation, and we had these T-shirts, Why Not Us, and our kids responded, and it was probably one of the most special victories, and because over the respect of what they do at Chadron. And so this special place to go play. Our kids really enjoyed going and competing up there. and we're really looking forward to one hell of a ball game. They are going to present some challenges. I think their receivers and the way they operate with their passing game is going to create some problems, and so we got to be locked in on our secondary. We got to make the right checks on defense, and then our offense only has to play against one opponent. And when we can do that, that gives us a chance to ball game. But if we decide to get sloppy, we're not disciplined in the details, it could be a long night or a long afternoon about the way Chatham plays.
Well, offensively, what is it specifically that you see them doing that might cause a problem, or you say, man, we might have problems with it? What do we have to really take care of? Particular package that they run that you really got to buckle down on?
Well, it's really Chadron's style of football is where they're going to run the zone and they're going to run the power. They run three backs. This Cody Paul. Get on the YouTube and pull up Google Cody Paul, and you watch a great high school player. Then Derek Jackson, as everybody's seen, and the receivers are just really outstanding. O'Boyle, number 15, is a guy that is scary good because he makes great catches. They have
is that Bill's son?
No, it's his nephew.
Oh, okay.
And so they have a big receiver out there, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. That's originally from Chatham, Nebraska. We played against him forever, and I see him spin and make some catches.
Zach Bargan.
Yep. And
basketball coach's boy, I believe.
And so, it just is a matchup that is tough for us. And so I think our kids are gaining confidence as we go through this. We want to continue to play our best ball in October to lead us what we're going to do. Each week we want to get better. And there's no reason that we can't go 411 miles and go play one heck of opponent and give it our all.
All right, we're looking forward to it. Saturday, high noon, Chadron, Nebraska. We'll be on the air at 11:30 on Fox Sports Pueblo with the pregame show, 12 o'clock with the kickoff. Joe will be there, I will be there, the rest of the Thunderwolves will be there, and a cast of thousands. Usually we travel pretty well for this game. Hope to see a lot of fans up there as well. Tony Wright's going to have high school football for you on Friday night. It'll be County and Central right here on Fox Sports Pueblo. Once again, 11:30. Pregame, 12 o'clock with the kickoff. We thank everybody here at Andy Max. Thank Dax Larson. We thank the coach. We thank Joe Servi. I'm Jim Brooks. We thank Tony Wright, our producer and engineer. Good night, everybody.